Hmm. Hello, everybody. I have a very special guest today, Kongo Kong. How are you?
Not too bad, man. How about yourself?
Doing all right. I'm doing all right. So,
Good.
you've had a very great career, I'd say. Has there any highlights that you've really loved talking about, or like anything that you really love sharing with your fans and going from there?
Man, I love the experience I had when I went to India. I've been to India twice. I've been to China twice. Um, all four trips were amazing, but the one that sticks out, my most favorite, is when I toured the Himalayas with Great Khali, and several other wrestlers that we all know or whatever. It was just an awesome time meeting, and getting to experience what the other side of the globe is doing. Also, I had a decent run in Impact. I wish it could have gone longer, maybe a little different, but, for the most part, I can't complain. I've had a great career, like you said, been pretty fortunate to do some things. And um, heck, even for the last 4 years, I have yet to punch anybody's clock. I've been able to make a living off of pro wrestling through training, gear making, and wrestling. So,
And with your travels to India and all that, what has been your most memorable moment, and what's so different with the fans over there between the fans in the U.S.?
um, the fans over there, they want to uh, hold you on a pedestal, and they treat you like you are some form of a god, as opposed to, I feel like fans in the United States, they're so overexposed that we're just regular people to them, and I kind of like the idea of when I go over there, um, the people look at me different, and it kind of it takes me back to the days where wrestlers were looked at as superheroes as opposed to your next door neighbor.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then I would say probably one of the greatest memories was the two shows that we did over there had over 50,000 people in the audience. So, and it wasn't in like some great big uh, coliseum or arena of any type. It was just like a big open field, and mainly because the great Khali is a god over there, for lack of a better term. Um, it was able to draw, both of those shows were able to draw the massive amounts of people that were there.
Hmm. And with you being as tall as you are, there's not a lot of wrestlers that are as huge as you. And Great Khali is someone that would come to mind. Have you learned anything from him? As he showed you anything?
Um, Not really, because I guess he felt like I knew
Hmm.
how to handle myself and what to do, in the ring. There was nothing that you know stood out, I guess, about my performance that made it to where he had to tell me, well, you need to do this or you need to do that.
Yeah. And while you were training to become a wrestler, was it difficult for you? Because most of the guys are like 5 foot, but you're not 5 foot. Is it different for you being taller and kind of like worrying about other people? Like, I don't know if I could do this without, hurting someone, or maybe them doing something where it's like, well, I don't know if I can do this because I might hurt him. Has there ever been like a challenge like that?
Yeah, it's always a challenge. It's always, even to this day, I get in the ring sometimes with younger guys, and it feels like they are under the mentality that I better get him before he gets me, and they don't understand the magic behind it all. Making it look like it hurt
Mm.
with trying to make it hurt as little as possible. And I mean, yeah, there were definitely challenges. People would have to point out that I'm so much bigger than everybody else, and I shouldn't be doing this, and I shouldn't be doing that. And I eventually had to come to the conclusion that if I did everything that every other big man did, then I would look like every other big man does. Therefore, just becoming part of the pile.
Yeah, and did you wanna be classified as every other big man, or was there a style that you really wish you could have emulated or done differently?
I wouldn't say every other big man. Like my main influences were Vader, Bam Bam Bigelow, Yokozuna, the big agile guys.
Mhm.
I wanted to do some of the things that the cruiserweights were able to do and still, maintain the the size, the mystique of being bigger than most other wrestlers. Um, I guess I went through one of those phases where I thought, well, I want to be a strong style wrestler. I want to be like Samoa Joe or, some of these the early ROH guys that are now basically keeping WWE afloat.
Mhm.
But then I just come to the realization that again, if I do the same thing that everybody else does, then I just become part of the pile, and I'm not that piece of clothing that's sitting in the pile that sticks out. Those bright yellow shorts or whatever. So as long as I'm striving to be the bright yellow shorts, then I won't be the gray towel.
Yeah, yeah, and you did a lot of stuff well, you worked with Impact for a little bit, and with your time with Impact, was it I mean, did you enjoy your time with Impact? Because we don't really get to hear a lot of this stuff with companies and how wrestling works. So how was your time with Impact?
It was good. The biggest, I guess, downfall for me was the um, the management changes.
Mhm,
We went from um, John Geberg being in charge to Jeff Jarrett being in charge, and ended up, excuse me, with uh, Scott Demore
mhm.
and Don. What's his name? Don.
Callis?
Huh?
Don Callis?
Yes, that guy. Cyrus.
Mhm,
Yeah, ended up with them in charge, and I think even though Scott and I have been pretty good friends over the years, they just had a different vision for the company,
mhm,
and Congo Kong didn't fit. And there's nothing wrong with that. um but I just I wish there was a way that you can make it fit, because to me, you shouldn't have wrestling that is geared towards just one crowd
mhm,
or one type of audience, I should say. Because you need all those people. You need everybody to buy into what it is that you're trying to sell. And if you don't have something for everybody, then you're severely limiting yourself.
mhm. Yeah, and with right after your Impact release and that was done, where did you see yourself with your career? Did you was it wanna hang it up or was I wanna keep going?
Um, my resolve, even before I got to Impact, I think I'd been wrestling 18 years. Um, up until that point. Now I'm at 22. Yes, 22 years.
Okay.
No, 20. Yeah, 22 years. Um, my resolve, is and has been and probably will be for foreseeable future anyway, as long as I can walk, is to keep doing what I'm doing and keep plugging away at it. And um, because you never know when your next breakthrough, your next blessing is around the corner. So if I give up now, I might miss a door opening next week. You, just like that. And it happened to work out to where I thought maybe, okay, maybe it's time for me to consider sitting down or stepping back a little bit. And then, like, I keep going a little bit longer, and then those doors will start to open up. And I'm just at the mindset that if I keep pressing, something is about to happen again. It's bound to happen again. Whether it be another contract with a company or maybe a role like behind the scenes as a producer or something like that. For the TV show or for a TV show, I should say. Um, or maybe even a career in film or something like that. You just never know, but if you give up, then you miss those opportunities. And as long as I can make it work for me, at least financially anyway, I don't have an issue with still going, and still doing everything that I do.
Yeah, and if wrestling didn't work out, what would be your career now?
That's a good question. Because when I wrap up the wrestling part, I would also have to wrap up the training part and the gear making part. Um, in order, excuse me, to commit the time and effort to a day-to-day job, that I would need. So in order for me to have time, I'd have to give up on all these other aspects of my life that are connected to wrestling as well. And the only other one that really sounds any kind of appealing is driving truck, because I get to see the countryside, make a good amount of money. So um, that's something I've always considered, throughout my life was being a truck driver. I like to drive, I like to travel. The road trips, they don't bother me too much. Um, other than being stuffed down in a car, being 6'6", that can be bothersome at times, but it's not too bad, and if I'm in a big rig, that I'd have plenty of room, so I wouldn't have anything to complain about. But yeah, truck driving would probably be, I guess, the backup plan.
Yeah, and so it seems like you said with travel, not long drives. Have you been open to exploring more of the independent scene then around the country?
Yeah, I'm absolutely open to it. I I don't mind making trips to like Florida, and stuff like that. But if we can avoid, some of that time in the car, then yeah, I would rather have a flight. We drove out to Colorado one time. That was a nice long trip, and there was think I think it was just four of us in the car, so it wasn't so bad. But then there was one time where we drove five deep to Florida in a car, and um, that's not something that being 6'6" you want to do on a regular. So um, when it comes to situations like that, I tell promoters anything over 6 or 7 hours, 7 hours is my max. I'm not driving.
So, with being 6'6" in those long travel days, I'm sure it gets uncomfortable. What is your, I guess, pre-match workout? Let's say you get to the arena a couple hours early. So, what do you do to kinda just put your mind at ease and just get ready for your match?
Stretch, man. Lots of stretching, lots of trying to loosen up, because you got to think you're sitting in the car, your legs are tight, your back's tight, your butt's tight. Um, if you're driving, your upper shoulders are tight. Um, and if you don't, then you run a greater risk of pulling something or injuring yourself somehow. So, that's something I do. I'll go in and I'll try to find the promoter, talk to them for a little bit, see what they want for the day, and then I'll go find the ring and I'll find the corner and get a nice little stretch in. Um, as far as like exerting myself, I say that for the match, the match and the drive back.
Yeah. So, before I wrap things up, is there anything that you want your fans to remember you for?
Um, I love the idea that kids uh really, I guess, bite on my character, and I always want to leave the impression that I made it, or at least think that I left an impression, and that I made a difference, and that I made that kid smile, or I made that kid remember, hey, that's Congo Kong, and that's not just some big guy in face paint. I want them to know who I am, and I want them to um come up to my merch table and give me fist bumps. If they buy something, cool. If they don't, that's cool too. Um, but to have that experience, where uh it becomes apparent that, something about me clicked in them. I think that, is and should be, most professional wrestlers' goals, because that's who we're there for, the fans.
Mhm.
And if people aren't coming up to you and telling you how you affected them in one way or the other, generally good, hopefully good, then I don't feel like you're really doing any justice to the world. It's about reaching people, and it's about uh, meeting them where they are, and helping them get um, out of their situations or away from their life. And excuse me, I often equate wrestling with ministry.
Mhm.
And it's not about religion, it's not about doctrine or anything like that, but it is about the fight of good versus evil.
Mhm.
And when a fan can come to a show and put away, the things that they were going through that week, um, their loved one dying of COVID, or those suicidal thoughts, or that depression, or that financial situation that they've been dealing with that they can't seem to make any headway on. Um, when they can come and they can do that, and they can escape for those moments, and we give them just a little more hope, we help them uh, fight a little while longer, then we've done our job. And as long as I'm doing that, as long as I'm able to do that, then I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep doing it. And as long as my body's holding up, I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Yeah. Now I can't say thank you enough. I really appreciate this actually. Like this has been awesome. So I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you have a good night. Take care and good luck with future travels and everything.
Thanks, brother. You do the same.
All right.